which of course needed a suitable retro soundtrack. And we couldn't do all of them. I just picked a couple that, when I wrote them, I was like, man, it'd be really fun to play this with a live band. So we're doing a couple of those.
Fantastic. Well, let's take it away. Let's voyage into the Super Adventure Box.
Let's go to the Super Adventure Box.
Thank you, guys.
Caleb, make sure your stand's not about to fall off the edge there. Just looking out, you know?
Out, shall we? All right, that was great. That had like an almost like Dick Dale surf rock vibe at the end of there.
Yeah, well, that one, I mean, I'm no Dick Dale, certainly. But that one was at the end of the first Super Adventure box. It was supposed to be a preview level of World 2.
Nice.
And it was this kind of river rapids where you're like jumping on logs and going over waterfalls and stuff. So it's like, well, obviously it's got to sound like a surf song,
Yeah.
you know? Yeah.
So my instincts were correct.
Absolutely. I'm glad you picked up on
Yes. So do you have anything planned for Super Adventure Box? Anything maybe coming in Heart of Thorns, perchance?
That's a sticky situation.
Ah.
I honestly have no idea, but I do know that the fans love it, and I mean, I love writing this kind of stuff. It's such a great break from the big, grand fantasy orchestra that I would love to do more, but it's out of my hands, unfortunately.
Yeah. So you guys in the chat, if you want more, chat it up. Put it in that chat box because, you have the power. Use
Demand
your voice, all that fun stuff.
Send your letters, your postcards.
Exactly. So what do we have coming up next?
Up next, we got a block of stuff that I think is pretty cool. So last year, let me back up. So we have what we call the Living World releases, which are these chunks of content that come out that it further kind of advance the storyline, and all of it has actually set up the story for Heart of Thorns. So we had Season 1, which was this kind of bi-weekly cadence of releases, and that ended maybe January 2014. And then we took a few months off, and then we had Season 2. And in that time, I asked if we could try to step up our musical game, and what I really wanted was to get a live orchestra. I thought that would just elevate. Everybody's working really hard on the content, and the designers are getting better, the artists are getting better, the animators are getting better, and I thought that my contribution to it being music, that would be the one way to kind of elevate things. So fortunately, the higher ups agreed, and we worked on a significant amount of content, and we recorded it in the spring and August of last year, and the response to it has been amazing. And I should say that we can't do this block of content without mentioning the person who helps me, the two people who helped me with this live orchestra stuff. One is Lena Chappelle. Hi, Lena, if you're watching. So she is a designer at ArenaNet, and she has been helping me write music for the last few years. Extremely talented composer in her own right, and sometimes I couldn't get things done without her help. And then a guy named Stan Lepard, who is a composer and an orchestrator, and he helps me with all of the process for facilitating the live orchestra recording sessions, and in addition to writing some music. So it's a team effort. It's not just me.
Well, thank you for making this song everything it could be, and thank you to your teammates as well.
Yeah.
When you're composing for an orchestra as opposed to a smaller group, what's that experience like from your perspective? How does that differ?
I mean, it's extremely daunting, and it's taken me a while to feel comfortable in that role because, you sit there by yourself and you are working on all this stuff on the page, and then at some point you have to say it's done, and I'm going to put it in front of somebody who is basically a virtuoso at their instrument, and hope that they don't laugh you out of the out of the recording studio. And it's still something that I get really nervous about. But in the sessions that we've done, I've found that the musicians are extremely appreciative to work on new music, not stuff that's 300 years old.
Yeah.
And they love the idea of working in video games. So it's a great rapport, and
Nice.
It's a constant learning experience because sometimes you don't know what it's going to sound like until 60 people start playing, and then you're like, well, or this sounds even better. So you have to kind of be willing to make adjustments on the fly.
Yeah, so suck it, Brahms. Video games are the future.
That's
is the
right.
moral of this story.